Hello, and welcome back to My Balcony with me, your host Clive Davis, on My Balcony. So, you probably have three questions right now. One, what's with the funny accent? Two, is it possible that you're even more handsome than before? And three, weren't you shot dead by a penguin at the end of the last season of My Balcony? Well, to answer the second question first, that's really not for me to say. As for the others, I was indeed shot by a penguin, but the bullet went straight through and I survived. However, there were some side effects. One, I now appear to speak in a strange Welsh accent. Also, my mind has been somewhat affected by the experience, so this series of My Balcony will be a little different from the last, I think. And also, my doctor tells me to take it easy, so it'll be a weekly or thereabouts affair as opposed to daily. So, without further ado,
Are you on the ball?
Sea shanty, hand shandy. Sea shanty, hand shandy. Sea shanty, hand shandy.
my
Sea
balcony!
shanty, hand
It's my
shanty.
balcony!
Sea shanty,
My balcony!
sea shanty.
Come and see me on my balcony. With me, your host, Clive Davis, on my balcony. A special device that can suck up the ghosts of the dead, and later on the storage containment of these apparitions breaks down and the ghosts escape into the city. Am I talking about the film Ghostbusters? No. I'm talking about the 1905 short story The Ghost-Extinguisher by Frank Gelett Burgess. Frank Gelett Burgess was born in Boston, and he was an important figure in the San Francisco Bay Area literary renaissance of the late 19th century, apparently. He was an art critic, a novelist, and a poet, most well known for his nonsense verse for children, such as The Purple Cow. And he wrote this short story, The Ghost-Extinguisher, in 1905, which first appeared in Cosmopolitan magazine and has been anthologized a few times since in collections of humorous ghost stories. In it, a man discovers first a ghost powder which immobilizes spectres, and then he sucks them up first with a bellows and then later with a bicycle pump. He also modifies a fire extinguisher for shooting the ghost powder and, I quite like the sound of this, a ghost grenade. He goes to Waterloo and sucks up some Napoleonic era ghosts of soldiers, and he also goes to the Catskills to clear a sanatorium, at which point he doesn't get paid by the people who run the place, and that's when he lets loose all of the ghosts that he's collected. One does wonder if the writers of Ghostbusters had read The Ghost-Extinguisher. It's not a bad little story, and you can find out for yourself. There's a downloadable version at the Amazon Kindle store for the princely sum of 93 cents.
One of the nicest ironies for me is earlier on in the story when our protagonist obtains the ghost powder. It's from a Japanese character who has some great somewhat racist dialogue. One of my favourites being, "You hurry up, bring me one pair of bellows pretty quick." Like that. And what's interesting is the protagonist talks about how unsuperstitious the Japanese are. They don't care about moving into apartments which are haunted or people have died in. And the fantastic irony about this is that now, here in Tokyo, for example, what's called the jikobuken. Jikobuken are buildings which murders have been occurred, people have died, apartments basically, that real estate agents can't flog to a very superstitious public. The interesting thing about this is that the real estate agents are obligated to tell you if such a thing has happened in a building that you're looking at to the prospective clients. So for instance, if you're being shown around an awesome place and it seems ridiculously cheap, and you ask, so what happened here, what happened to the last tenant, whatever, they're legally obligated to tell you, or they died in the course of giving themselves a chainsaw manicure or whatever. You can pick up some of these apartments incredibly cheaply, but less so than you used to be able to, because there's an interesting new kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, scheme, I guess, not a scam, whereas in people who are down on their luck are actually hired to live in these places for, let's say, a month, because an interesting legal loophole is that you only have to tell the next prospective client if the murder occurred during the previous tenancy. So if a murder happened today by a penguin wielding a gun, for example, in a week someone was moved in here, stayed for a month, moved out, then the next people looking at this place wouldn't have to be told about what happened.
Anyway, I found out about the Ghost-Extinguisher through one of my toilet books, and that's next week's topic, the toilet book.
Sea shanty, hand shandy. Sea shanty, hand shandy. Sea shanty, hand shandy.
My balcony! It's my
Sea
balcony!
shanty,
My balcony!
sea shanty.
Come and see me on my balcony. With me, your host, Clive Davis, on my balcony.
"You hurry up, bring me one pair of bellows pretty quick."